Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for today's discussion about small businesses and when to move from buying wholesale volumes to bulk volumes. My name is Hannah. I work with Central Foods, and just as a reminder for you, you can find us on Twitter. Our handle is @CentraFoods, or you can also find us on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. We love our small businesses. Now, the first thing that I want to go through with you today is, a lot of small businesses come to us and say, we would love to start buying in bulk volumes instead of buying from our local wholesaler. The biggest difference between these two buying systems is a wholesaler is going to be someone like Costco, like an ingredient distributor if they carry lots of different things and they deliver them to your house, like a Sysco. Anybody that is going to be distributing smaller volumes, a few cases at a time, and potentially multiple different ingredients. That's what a wholesaler does. Now, a bulk supplier typically has a more narrow range of items that they carry, but their minimums are going to be much higher, and their costs are going to be lower than the wholesaler. That's because they actually distribute to wholesalers as well as to you. So with the bulk transition, we get a lot of small businesses that are coming to us saying, hey, we're ready to move to bulk, we want to save money, and they haven't quite thought all the different components in. It will impact you positively, it will help you save money, but making that change, it does also have some potentially negative effects to your business, or just effects to your business that you're going to need to be aware of and be prepared for. For example, starting at the beginning, you do want to think about switching to bulk if you can use a pallet of oil within 6 to 8 months. That's my typical guideline, so that'll start off the discussion. A pallet of oil is normally somewhere between 200 and 300 gallons of oil, so it's quite a bit. Now, a pallet, that's just a wooden platform that your oil is stacked on, any different packaging size that you get. And it's typically a 4 foot by 4 foot by maybe 5 foot high pallet that all of your oil is going to be shipped on. So that's kind of our standard. We have a 1 pallet minimum for your orders. The reason for that is actually an advantage to you. The shipping cost that goes along with that, it's typically, if say it's going to cost $300 for shipping for that 18-wheeler with a pallet to deliver to your house. If you are putting 60 cases on the container versus 10, shipping is going to be about the same, so your per container shipping cost is going to be a lot cheaper the more you ship. If you want to ship less, it's going to actually be easier for you to work with a wholesaler and about the same cost. So if you can use somewhere between 200 and 300 gallons over the course of 6 to 8 months or so, it would be worthwhile for you to think about making that change and switching to bulk. Now, in terms of the packaging, you have to think about 2 different components. How am I going to be using it? How am I going to be getting the oil out? And where am I going to store it? So if you think about a few different packaging sizes that are most often thought about, which is the 55-gallon drums, the 35-pound containers, and then sometimes the 1-gallon containers, those sizes, it can really impact how you store and how you use the oil on a daily basis. Let's say, for example, we've got a small business owner, they're just gearing things up and they want to help lower their costs, but they're doing all of their production in their home. They want to store this drum somewhere and use it on a daily basis. Well, where's it going to go? Do you live in a place that is warm? How are you going to move this 500-pound drum around? Were you thinking about storing it in your basement? Do you have stairs that you'll have to go down to get there? It can actually be pretty tough once you get that big drum. It is a hefty weight to manage. Most times, people are using a forklift or at least a pallet jack to move that drum around. If you have a tractor, that'll actually work pretty well. But without that, those drums are really hard to manage. We would suggest going in the next size down, which is the 35-pound containers. So those are 4.6 gallons each, and it's just a large box. So this would be a pretty standard size, but it's going to cut out some of your packaging that you might have with, say, the 1-gallon containers. So it will save you a little bit of money. But again, think about, where am I going to be storing these? Is it somewhere that is in the right temperature range? Keep in mind, olive oil wants to be at room temperature or a little bit colder. If it is colder, it will solidify. So, do you have a place where it can thaw out and turn back from the consistency of butter to a liquid oil before you need to use it? Do you need to pour it on 10 times a day? If so, the 35 pounders may be a little bit of a challenging size for you. So think about how you're going to be using it and where it's going to be going. The other component is going to be, can you buy that full pallet at a time? We talked a little bit about the minimums that we have, and we do have those in place for a reason. So again, think 6 to 8 months. Look at all your different packaging sizes and see what's really going to make sense. For a small business, the other impact that it's really going to have is how much capital you're putting into one ingredient at one time. Say, for example, it makes sense to buy oil and it'll last you for 6 months. Well, a pallet of oil is going to cost anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000 depending on what grade or type of oil that you get. So that's a pretty large capital investment for a small business to make all at one time, just on inventory that's going to be sitting on the floor. Granted, it is going to save you money in the long run, but that's just a big investment to put in place in the first place. So think about all these different components. Every business has its own individual challenges, so we want to be able to help you guys as much as we can. If you have any questions, give us a call. We're happy to talk and walk you through the process, talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you're up against, and help you go through it. Thanks so much. Have a great day.